All right, Charlie, it looks like from the gift bag in front of us that we're doing another blind tonight.
First of all, it's a very sophisticated bottle covering mechanism.
It is very sophisticated.
And we spare no expense.
Absolutely.
But yes, it is another blind for you people. And we're going to see if Glenn can pick it out.
Look forward to it.
He says.
Okay, Charlie, so you have very heavily poured whatever is under this bag.
I got excited.
Yes, which makes me think it might be something good. If you get excited.
Or it's not. And I'm just really excited about
Jim Beam Red Stag.
First of all, I like Red Stag. It's cherry flavored. No, another blind.
All right.
We did this massive blind that shook us to our core and shook our preconceived notion of what we thought was these high-end bottles, and you guys loved it. You watched it, which you guys usually don't watch anything, but you watched that one and you commented, more blinds, let's do more blinds. Look like ridiculous people, so we're doing a blind. Well, and Glenn doesn't know what it is. I know what it is because I bought the bottle, and I'm kind of excited for this one.
I like blinds when you buy the bottles.
I buy a bottle.
That's pretty dark.
Man, get into it.
Start dark.
Start going, buddy.
That is a very deep amber color.
Boy, I'm not going to disagree with you, but that is almost brown.
And when I say amber, you know those little things where you get in it, it's got the little bug or the whatever, and it's in amber. That's what this reminds me of. Or like dark. A really dark tea. Oof, and it really sticks to the glass well, and it's got tight legs when it does start running down, but it takes forever for it to start running down.
Boy, it takes it a minute.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You know what? That's what I was going to say. That's in the glass. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Here we go.
Now let's get to the nose. Ooh, it's got a beautiful nose. Another classic bourbon profile. It's not super complex, the nose isn't, but it's got the basic elements of what you want in a bourbon. It's got a little bit of spice, a little bit of brown sugar. It's got some like vanilla sweetness, a little bit of cola.
So this one was open ahead of time, obviously because it's a blind. The manufacturer of this particular liquid recommended it being open and sitting in a glass for a few moments. Okay. So that's why I'm kind of swirling and just seeing kind of how it, I am not saying we have to, just sit here and you have to watch us do this, but I'll be interested to see how it opens up as the episode
I'm getting a little bit more, like I'm getting some more complexity now that I've gone back in.
Okay.
I'm getting more of the caramels. A little bit of like a candy bar note almost.
When you say candy bar, chocolate sweet? Like what kind of?
Like not like a strong chocolate, but just like a really sweet, like confectionery almost.
Okay, I like that confectionery. I like that.
I never used that word.
No,
it just came out of the ether there.
It just
All right.
did.
I want to drink.
He's excited. Here we go. To blinds.
Cheers. Wow. That's really interesting. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Holy crap. Before you start talking, I just want to say, usually I will take a good sized sip, swirl it in my mouth for a moment or two, and, drink it. This one, I feel like I swirled it in my mouth forever because I was just like, there was so much going on.
Yeah.
I was like, I kept that in my mouth for way too long. That'll probably be a clip somewhere. But holy crap, there is a lot going on. Pick it up.
So the first thing, and because you were talking, so the first thing I'm going to address is the finish. I feel like the finish kind of dries up quickly on your palate, but then it kind of reemerges in your throat. Does that make sense?
A little Kentucky hug.
Yeah, and it's not an unpleasant feeling. It's just like a really nice warm, and then comes up and works its way back up to the back of your roof of your mouth. When I first sipped it, it had quite a bit of spice on it. So I thought, okay, this is a high rye mash bill, maybe. But it also has like a really, like a classic bourbon profile with some deep, dark chocolate and caramel, and there's like a weird note in there that I can't place. Yeah. Like there's something there.
You're so close.
That is like between the two, and I don't know what it is. I have been really excited for this one. And we'll get into it with the reveal, but I agree with everything you say. I love how it almost smells like a dusty, like an old.
I love how deep and dark and how much depth of flavor there is in this. There is a lot of complexity, but it's hidden with this big, bold, spicy flavor, and then you have this nuance, just this whisper of
there's something there,
yes,
and I don't know what it is.
Like, what is it? And it just
that's what's left on your tongue, right?
It teases you. It teases me. Like I want to just continue. Like it's hard for me not to go back to this, and I know what it is, and I know where those flavors are coming from. But I am really excited for this.
It's almost like a syrupy, like it almost it leaves my mouth like I just drank or ate syrup or something, like something, I don't know.
Glenn.
Is it a finished bourbon?
I think you should give the big reveal.
Better. Okay.
I do want to notice one more time before you do that, because they did say, it's going to open.
Because I feel like whatever that note that's on the palate is now in the nose.
Oh yeah, it's there.
That's, all right. I'm excited for this because I feel like it's something
Pull it.
Interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Nectar. You dirty little dog.
Kentucky Nectar batch 2. Extremely rare. And we're going to get into it. There's a lot to cover here, kids.
Old Commonwealth, right?
That's right. Kentucky Nectar batch 2 is a double-barreled cask strength wheated Kentucky straight bourbon.
Wheated. Interesting.
That has been finished in honey casks. This 107 proof stunner drinks far below its ABV, which is 107 proof, packs a delicious pile of dessert notes in each dram, and will make any honey finished haters rethink their ire. Most honey finished bourbons use a high rye mash bill, but wheat imparts a softer note that complements the Kentucky straight bourbon characteristics without overtaking the base whiskey. Mash bill, 64% corn, 24% wheat, 12% malted barley. That's batch 1. I don't know if this is the same mash bill. I would assume it is from batch 1 to batch 2. I don't think they would change their mash bill, but there's no information about batch 2 on their website currently. When I put in that mash bill, this is from a non-age stated, non-disclosed distillery, but when I put in 64% corn, 24% wheat, and 12% malted barley, the only thing that came up was Wilderness Trail.
Okay.
So maybe.
That's super, super interesting. And now that I know it's honey finished, I'm like, that's that note. And now I'm like, that's honey.
It's honey.
Which I will say, and you said something about those who are honey finish haters, which I don't know that I've tried a honey finish that I've really loved.
I feel like it's the most overly, it's overdone. And there's some executions that have been better than others, but it's, the juice is not worth the squeeze in a lot of cases for those.
I wish I had known. I've got a Starlight honey finish at home that
I've got like 2 back here, which we could drag out. So MSRP on this is around $100. I picked this up, of course, at the best bourbon store of all time, John O's in E-Town. Thank you, John O's. The really cool thing about this is the resurrection of the Old Commonwealth Distillery.
Yes.
If you have a quick 45 minutes, I'd like to regale you with their history. And that's seriously like how long?
Interesting fact.
Yes.
Our friend Mike Bother, who we at Final Third podcast, where we went up to Indy and we were on his podcast. He worked on a documentary about Old Commonwealth. I don't know if it's out or when it's supposed to come out.
Yep. But there's big things happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the fun thing about Old Commonwealth and kind of what they're hanging their hat on and what they're going to do, obviously they're resurrecting that distillery. They are not distilling now. They're sourcing high-end, extremely elegant products and then resurrecting old brands. Kentucky Nectar was not from Old Commonwealth Distillery. It was actually from the Melwood Distillery. It was an 8-year bottled and bond between 57 and 67. So that's where Kentucky Nectar came from. But when you think nectar, you think bees, and that's why they did the honey
ties into another episode.
Another episode about Melwood. Old Commonwealth Distillery. You ready for this? Real quick. Founded in 1889 as the S.O. Hackley Distillery. 1894, he sells all his shares and it becomes the Hoffman Distillery. If you've got a bunch of old decanters laying around, they may say Hoffman Distillery. Files for bankruptcy in 1912, shuts down, comes back. The Ezra brothers, you may have heard of Ezra. It becomes the Ezra Brooks Distillery.
Interesting.
It churns out a bunch of Ezra Brooks. And then let's see, let me scroll. I know this is riveting. In 1968, the Hoffman Distillery becomes the Ezra Brooks Distillery. Then it changes names again in 76. It becomes the Charles Medley Distillery. Again, bunch of decanters. In 1981, the Van Winkles get a hold of it, resurrect it, bring it back to prominence, and it becomes the Old Commonwealth Distillery. In 2002, it shutters, became a sign shop. That's right. It goes from the Van Winkles to Lou DeFino, a local sign maker who uses the facilities for his workshop. That's in 2000.
That went from cool to not cool very quickly.
So when everybody's like, oh, bourbon, it's here forever. In 2002, the Van Winkles, like, nobody was lining up for Pappy.
You keep talking.
2019, Zachary Joseph and Andrew English and their partner Troy LeBlanc purchase it, resurrect it in 2024. They release their first two expressions, Old Commonwealth 10-year, which you may have seen around. We were not fortunate enough to get one. It's regarded very well. I'd love to have one. And Kentucky Nectar. So this is batch 2. They also have a 16-year coming out, which is Colonel Randolph, which is going to be a 16-year, which...
That looks like an old Fitzgerald bottle right there.
That is... I'm not for sure. Their website is excellent. Go to oldcommonwealth.com. I actually emailed them yesterday and was like, hey, we're doing this episode. Didn't anticipate. Most people don't email us back.
Right.
They emailed us right back. And they're like, hey, we think you'll enjoy it. Cool. They actually said, I'll tell you. It's one of their favorite brands. They cure all the honey barrels in-house. They do not purchase pre-seasoned barrels from brokers or secondary sources. Each barrel is carefully drained to ensure the honey finish is clean and authentic without adding flavors or artificial enhancement.
So they buy a barrel and fill it with honey?
Yep.
And then they drain it?
And then they drain it. And they said that there is a great article on their website. This is awesome. Hard not to be romantic about bourbon. That they rotate those barrels daily to make sure that it's getting even.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. And if you've ever been in Kentucky in the summer or spring or fall and you put out bourbon barrels filled with honey, it's going to attract what?
Bees.
Yeah, and bugs.
Or bears.
Yeah, bears and bees. So I think that's awesome. Like if you're going to do it to the max.
That's cool. So as you've been talking, I'm nosing this. I'm getting so much more char.
Oh yeah.
Like I love this bottle.
I do too.
I will tell you, I was talking to Freezer Whiskey Andy last week.
Freezer Whiskey Andy.
And he had picked up a bottle of this and he told me he tried it and he was like, I was a little disappointed in it. I'm not.
Was it in his freezer?
I'm not. No, he no longer has Freezer Whiskey. I'm not disappointed in this at all. This is nice. This is nice. I wish I would have found a bottle of this. Should we rate it?
I want to talk about it just for a brief moment more. I think I paid like $104.95 or something, $105.95, and after all the E-Town tax and everything else, it was like $115 or something. I thought this was one of those like pretty bottle, new distillery, source juice, honey finish. Like if anything is set up to really like be like, oh boy, like come on. I'm really impressed with this bottle.
It's 107, right?
100 and so. Batch number 2, 107 proof, bottle 589 of $11.99. It's extremely short.
I feel like it drinks higher than 107.
From a flavor standpoint or from a proof standpoint?
No, from a proof, like, you know you're drinking it. And I don't know, when I first tasted it, I thought it was a high rye. Like, there's a lot of spice there for a wheated bourbon.
So that was the most fun, and thank you for bringing me back to earth. You're talking about rye and high rye, and there's so much spice. There's so much spice.
Which we just did a blind that had 0 wheat in it, and it had rye in it, and I thought it was a wheated bourbon. And this one has no rye, and I thought it was a rye.
Was it
high rye?
Was it Frey Ranch, or it was one of our? It was either Frey Ranch or Middle West that we got spice from their wheat.
Yes,
Middle
West.
It may have been Middle West. And I thought, man, how out of character this is. This is 24%. Let me go back. This is
24% rye.
24% wheat.
Sorry.
12% malted barley and 64% corn. Where the heck is the spice coming from,
It's got to be coming from the barrel, right?
It's awesome. There is so much spice and so much flavor. It is really nice. And
it's funny because now that I know what this is, that note, it's all honeycomb. All I can see in my head is like this honeycomb dripping with honey.
I don't get it as much on the nose now that it's set, and it's amazing how much it's opened up from when we first nosed it, where you're like, okay, all right,
Well,
and then you get the honey.
When I say honey, you automatically go to sweet. And the sweetness is there, but it's not, so honey's not all sweet, right? There's a note to honey that's just indescribable honey flavor.
Yeah.
It's not sweetness.
Honey
and
smell,
that's what that is.
honey smell and honey taste are not always the same thing. And not all honey is super, super sweet. Like, I feel like this is a really...
It's really good.
Interesting pour. There is so much flavor. It's very... Like I said, when I did I purchased it, I did the research, I looked at the price tag, and then it's Wilderness Trail, it's high, it's super weeded. Man. Boy, it's unique, man. It's really different. I'm having a hard time comparing it to anything because it is just its own animal. I'm going to give it an 8.375. I'm going to give that an 8.375. Okay. I think that's a really good bottle.
I think it is too. I want to rate it in the 8s, but then I'm thinking, my God, I just gave the Four Roses
a $40 bottle.
$40 bottle. That's true. 8.8.
8.8.
8.8.
Cheers. Listen, guys at Old Commonwealth, awesome. The Kentucky Nectar, absolutely worth it.
That's a great bottle.
I'll be back at Jono's next week. If they've got another one, I'll probably pick it up because we always talk about it, and you're probably sick of hearing it if you watch our episodes. You want to be rewarded with your purchase.
Absolutely. You were rewarded.
I 100% was rewarded.
I was rewarded.
We're all getting rewards. Absolutely worth the money. And if nothing else, it's because it's super unique. It just does things that you don't get. Like, I can't pull, and there are a lot of bottles around us now, open, unopened, available. I don't know anything that I could pull that it would taste even remotely similar to this.
And every time I take a sip, I get something different. Like, it's a different, not different, but it's another thing to focus on. Like, I'm rewarded every time I sip it. Sometimes you drink a bourbon and the first taste is great and all that, but then as you start sipping, it's like, it's just what it is. This is, every time I sip it, it's like, that's interesting.
Some sips, this changes from sip to sip for me. Some sips you get more of that, excuse me, that deep, dark.
You need some honey?
I need some honey. The nectar's getting to me. This last sip I had was just all honey. And I know part of this is mental and you're staring at it and we're talking about it.
It is, but I fully taste that now. Like, it's there.
Beautiful bottle. Love it. Love everything about it. I feel like this is, and this is going to sound crazy, at $100, I feel like that's a bargain. For what it is.
Compared to what,
I mean, guys, like, we see a lot worse for $100.
That's a bottle to share and discuss and talk about, and
and the
stands out.
The great part about this one is it gets you excited about what's coming down the pipe. Like, there is not a lot of excitement coming from bourbon right now. There's distillery sheltering and tax liens and people getting laid off and brands closing. This is beautiful, and this is what hopefully we have coming down the pipeline for us.
Absolutely,
that to look forward to. So,
all right, Charlie, why don't you tell them what to do?
Make sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube for more hard-hitting bourbon and bee content like
this. Check us out on socials, and as always, keep those wallets loose
and your bungholes very tight. Good night, everybody. Peace out. Kentucky Nectar. I tell you what, I'm about 2 minutes away from just shaving my head again and going completely. No, it's not a good look for me. It was when I was skinny and a basketball player. Not anymore. No. Another blind, another day. 3, 2, 1, action.